Hi everyone, my name is Daniela and I am the co-founder of Graduwaiting. I thought today I would do a video about me, I guess, and like my current situation, basically what everyone else has been doing on this channel for the past month or so, but I thought I would kind of give my opinion and perspective on things personally. So yeah, I thought I'd first of all say hi because I haven't really introduce myself properly on this platform except for that one very rogue video of me basically crying after a phone interview, so that's cool. So I am Daniela. I am 23 years old. I recently graduated from the University of Warwick back in July, and I studied history and did a year abroad in Singapore. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And basically the career path I want to go down is marketing, which is quite rogue given that I did history. But let me kind of explain. I'll try and do this very quickly because I don't want it to be like boring. But yeah, let's kind of rewind as to why I suddenly want to go into marketing and how I decided that's what I wanted to do. So first of all, in my second year, I applied for a part-time job as a campus brand ambassador. And I'm sure a fair few of you will know what that is. It's basically when companies hire students to promote their business, their company, their service to students on campus. So I worked with STA Travel, which is a student travel company, and my role was to basically spread the word about it on campus through events, through kind of just leafleting, through putting posters up, through my social media. So that was like my initial first role really within a marketing sphere. And that was very much the basic on the ground promotion, and then also doing social media posts and writing blogs for STA Travel as well. So that was kind of my initial entry into getting my first kind of glimpse into what marketing really was. So first of all, I would highly recommend trying to be a campus ambassador if you can. They're really, really fun roles. You usually meet a lot of kind of similar minded students through it with the other ambassadors that will be there with you on campus. And also it's a really easy job to have whilst you're studying because most of the time you can decide when you want to work. So you do it purely in your own time. And also I found it was very well paid considering how little hours I was doing. So I would really recommend that, and it's loads of fun as well. And it's like super good for your CV because it actually shows that you're willing to go out and speak to strangers essentially and have that kind of communication skills. So I would recommend doing that. So anyway, that was my first entry into kind of the marketing world. And then on my year abroad, wow, this actually feels like an interview and that I'm explaining myself. This really shouldn't feel like this, but I'm trying to prove to people that doing a degree in quite a rogue topic where there isn't a set career path such as history, I'm trying to prove that it is possible to follow a career such as marketing. So sorry if that bit was all very formal. So anyway, the next thing I did was I, on my year abroad, ran the social media channels for my parents' cafe. So I basically set up their Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then also created a website as well for them. So I kind of ran that off-site whilst I was abroad. They would kind of give me the content and then I would repost it and create kind of a brand for them. So that was really fun as well because I had complete creative freedom. So that was really good. Obviously a bit different and a bit of a different kind of situation there, but like that's something I kind of used as a little project for myself as well to really understand what it's like to run a business from a marketing perspective. That summer then when I came home, I did a 5-week internship at a small marketing and branding agency just outside of Manchester. And that was actually organised through a very extended family friend. So I can't give myself credit for any of that. I mean, I found the contact and got in contact with them, but like, it's one of those things where I was lucky that I knew someone and they put me in contact, which actually hasn't happened that often to me. So don't think that that's how I've kind of got to where I am now, because most of the time that just hasn't been the case. So anyway, I did that for 5 weeks because I basically came back from Singapore in May. So I was able to actually fit in 2 internships in that summer, which was really lucky. Because I'd come back that little bit earlier than most students. So I did the 5-week internship and then I started a 6-week internship at a place called Young Foodies in London. This was actually a internship organised by Warwick Student Internships, which I found on the Warwick Careers page called My Advantage. And obviously this is quite a Warwick based scenario, but I'm sure a lot of other universities have a similar kind of thing. So I was just searching on the page for jobs, for internships, and then this scheme called WSI, Warwick Student Internships, came up, and they basically work with around 120 small businesses across the UK to take on an intern for the summer. So I applied for this role, which was actually an events role, because I really liked the sound of the company. They were a startup, so it's like a young, forward-thinking company. Had the interview as a very quick kind of phone interview, quite casual, which was really nice and refreshing. Yeah, I actually got the role, but they actually made a second internship role because they thought I'd be more suited to marketing given my background. So I was actually a marketing intern, and they hired another events intern who is also on this platform and you may have seen before. So Beatrice, hello. Beatrice was the events intern at Young Foodies, so she was with me for the whole of the 6 weeks. So anyway, that was that. So that was summer of third year. And then I did final year, which was a barrel of laughs. And essentially my scenario was I went into my final year under the impression that I was going to start a job in July with the company I had initially interned with in the summer, so the one just outside of Manchester. So it was never a formal contract as such. We'd had several discussions, a kind of offer was put in place. It was my fault that I thought it was something more official than it actually was. Looking back on it, there's definitely some things you can learn from this. So yeah, I went into my final year thinking, yeah, I've got a job. I'll be getting a contract soon. Like, it's fine. I can focus on my degree. This is the perfect situation to be in. So yeah, I just went through final year, and then it got to about March or April time, and I started pushing for like a formal contract or just more information about the role. And then anyway, I got an email actually expecting it to be a contract, with them actually saying that at the moment they can't take me on just due to like business scenarios and such like things. So obviously I was gutted, and it was really hard because this was right in the middle of my exams and my dissertation, so I was just a big stress ball essentially. And also by this time, a lot of the kind of set graduate roles, the applications were complete, so I was kind of stuck thinking, God, like there's no jobs I can apply for, which also in hindsight is ridiculous because there's always jobs. So yeah, I mass panicked and just like mass applied for like all these ridiculously random jobs, and obviously nothing came through because I was putting like hardly any effort into applications. I was just like speed typing everything, like really trying to like get any job under the sun. So nothing really came through from that, and I was just like, okay, just focus on your finals. This is what's important right now. Kind of get this sorted and out of the way. I did my finals, that was great. Then I actually went traveling for 3 weeks, which I desperately needed after final year. I would highly recommend doing that because it's just, you need after final year. Like, final year is such a struggle and it really takes it out of you. So then I came back and was like, right, let's decide what the next process is going to be. So I had my heart set on London then. I was like, I want to move to London. All my friends are moving to London. This is where I want to be. This is where everything's at. And yeah, so I decided to look for jobs in London. If I could actually show you my phone now, I've got a list in my notes with all the jobs I applied for. And I'm not joking, there must have been, well, actually I checked my LinkedIn. Last month I applied to 45 jobs on LinkedIn, okay? So that was only last month. Bearing in mind I've been doing this now since August. So that kind of gives you an impression as to how many jobs I've been applying for. So anyway, in August, I was back and forth to London, going to interviews, getting endless rejections, doing phone interviews, doing video interviews, doing one-on-one interviews, just doing so many different things, back and forth to London, spending all this money that I didn't have. And then one day I kind of just sat down and was like, really, what am I looking for here? What do I want from a job? What kind of job do I want? And where do I want that job to be? And I think I'd come to the realization that as much as I loved London and all my friends were there, every time I went, I just felt there was something that I just didn't fit I just didn't feel comfortable. There was just something that just wasn't quite right. But I think I kept trying to hide that, saying like, no, this is where I want to be, like this is where my friends are, this is where everything happens, this is where all the marketing jobs are, this is where I need to be. But really, on reflection, it was all a bit of a facade, and I was really just trying to love London when really there was something that I was like, no, it's just not for me. I decided to then stop the applications all to London and just like focus on where I was right at that point. So I actually live in South Wales, just outside Cardiff. So I was kind of like, well, let's try for the meantime to apply for jobs in Cardiff and see what happens. So I applied for lots of roles, again did a few phone interviews, did a few like one-on-one interviews. Also, on a side note, I would just say that doing all those interviews was actually a godsend for me. As much as it was hard to deal with the rejection, and don't get me wrong, it was awful. Like my closest friends who are on this group will know what state I was in after all these rejections. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. But I actually learned a lot more about myself doing those interviews, and also I did really learn where my strengths and where my weaknesses were as a person. And I think the thing you need to take from interviews, whether you get through to the next round or you're rejected there and then, is that every interview you are learning something, and each interview you will take something from that. And it's kind of walking out of that interview and being like, you know what, if I get it, great, but if I don't, this is what I've learned from it. You have to take something from each interview that you do, and I think that's something I learned. And actually it really benefited me, because I then could perform better in interviews as each one kind of progressed, and the more interviews I got, the better I became at them. I know that's kind of common sense, but like that's something you should definitely learn. It's like you probably won't get the first job that you get interviewed for because you haven't had that experience of being interviewed. It's like anything really, like you need to practice these things. Back to the focus here. So I was then in Cardiff and was applying to jobs. I applied for this one role and automatically got like rejected, but the rejection email actually came from the founder, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to utilise having the founder's email here and just randomly ask on an off chance if he's willing to offer me 2 weeks unpaid work experience. Because really, most companies would jump at a chance to first of all, have someone on and not pay them, and second of all, just have an extra hand in the office doing whatever they want to do. So send an email, and he like instantly got back to me and was like, yeah, let's get a tour organised, very willing to have you in for like 2 weeks to just see like what we're all about and stuff. So it's just things like that, like just being a little bit proactive. And he actually emailed me saying like, good job on you for like emailing back and asking, because like you would never have known if that opportunity was available if you hadn't have asked. So yeah, I managed to get 2 weeks unpaid work experience at a social media marketing company in Cardiff, which was really good, really insightful, and really enjoyed my time. And actually it was a blessing really, because I'd been stuck in the house for weeks, not really leaving the house, which is really, really unhealthy when I think back to it. Not really speaking to many people or interacting with people, and just being really down about my whole situation. So it was really good. I got out, met some new people, had a routine every day, was going to work. So that was really great. And then in the meantime, I also applied for another role at an advertising agency. And in fact, that one, I applied for a role, the owner got back to me and said, oh, actually, we filled this role, we just haven't taken it down off the website yet. He was like, but I would be willing to offer you 2 weeks work experience, put you in a better position if another role comes up. And I was like, okay, cool, that's another 2 weeks sorted. By this point, that's a whole month of kind of more experience I've got under my belt in the field I want to go into. So I started off at this advertising agency, and then on my second day, they literally said, oh, do you want to stay for another 2 weeks? And I was like, yeah, okay. They did pay me some expenses, which was really nice as well. So yeah, I stayed there for 4 weeks, and actually at the end of that I did get a job offer. And this leads me on to my current situation. So during my time on this 4-week internship, I got a call from the company I had interned with just outside of Manchester. I got a phone call from them asking if I would be willing to take on their offer as a marketing exec there. Obviously I had to have quite a big think about this, given the previous situation I'd been in and all those feelings revolving around that. Then on on further thoughts, I realised that I was very willing to take up that role back this time last year, essentially. And it's a role that I really, really wanted and really think I'll thrive in. So after a lot of consideration, I decided to take it. And I actually start in less than 2 weeks' time. So that's a bit crazy. But that's not really the point here. The point here is how much I actually learned in that time where I couldn't see myself having a job. I didn't have a job lined up. And I think actually, as much as it was hard, emotionally draining, stressful, and so many times I felt extremely alone and isolated in the whole process, so many things wouldn't have happened if my situation hadn't been the way it was. For example, this platform would never have existed. And I think a lot of you will realise quite how big that is for me. The fact that myself and Izzy have been able to help so many people like yourselves just feel a little less daunted about this whole process is 100% worth that time that I didn't have a job lined up. To be able to create a platform which is supporting students and graduates in a time where you feel very lost, isolated, confused, and ultimately alone a lot of the time, and to be able to bring that feeling and completely change it, and hopefully this is what we hope we're giving with this platform, hopefully make it a more positive, helpful and understanding experience. The fact that we created that in a time where I was very lost and daunted by everything. Basically, without the bad situation that I was in where I didn't think I had a job and I was trying to find jobs and stuff, without that, this graduating would not exist. So it just proves the good things that can come out of bad situations. And also, I wouldn't be as confident as I am now because this confidence has come through endless phone interviews, endless one-on-one interviews, endless video interviews. This sounds so cliched, but I've grown as a person in terms of being able to communicate effectively and have the confidence in myself that I am capable, I am employable. And I think that whole, it was a good 6 months, more than 6 months actually, that I was unemployed and a bit lost trying to find a job was actually so beneficial, and I learned so much in that time that it's actually been all worth it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, and it's all just a bit crazy at the moment, trying to like everything has just happened super quick. And obviously personally I've done a full kind of circle of this whole situation. It's kind of started, stopped and come back, so it's all very strange. But essentially what I wanted to say here was, and this is what everyone has been telling me for the past 6 months, and I know when you hear this you're going to be like, yeah, and what? But everyone said to me it will get better and everything will just fall into place, and that is exactly what has happened. And I know 100% that in the moment when you are feeling crap and you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where you're going, stuff like that goes in one ear out the other. Like, you don't really listen to it and you don't believe it's ever going to happen to you, but it does. And all I would say is keep trying, keep putting that effort into things, learn more about yourself through going through these rejections and going through applications or whatever. Just keep going. Like, you have to persevere with these things. It's tough, it really is tough, and it affects you in ways you didn't think it would affect you, but you just need to keep going. And honestly, if anyone's on here watching this and feels like they are struggling so much and just have no idea where to go or just lost, like, the whole point of this platform is, one, to be a support network so that we all on this platform try and help each other as much as possible to secure that next position of employment, wherever that may be. And also it's to have the space to talk. The whole point here is that we talk. Too many people, myself included, a few months ago, would just not talk about how they're feeling and about the current situation they are in. In a way, I was ashamed I didn't have a job after university, which is absolutely ridiculous that I ever felt like that. So I think the purpose of this platform is to be able to talk comfortably and confidently about where you're at, and that it's okay to be where you are at, whether that's no job whatsoever, whether that's a part-time job as a waitress, whether that's in a grad scheme, whether that's volunteering somewhere, whether that's traveling, like, it doesn't matter. But the whole point is that we're talking about these things, being open and saying that it's okay not to be following the mainstream. I say mainstream, but really I don't think it is the mainstream. I wouldn't like to say majority either, because I feel like a lot of students are not in top grad schemes straight after uni. So yeah, I just want this platform to be a place where we can all support each other, where we can talk about whatever we want to talk about, and really just help each other out. And just be honest and open about our situations. We're not trying to hide anything here. We're not trying to prove anything. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel about graduating. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And if anyone would like any help or wants to just talk or whatever, I'm free and will be free and will make time. So just message me, slide into those DMs. That was so tragic. If you want, you can ring me, whatever. Like, it's all about talking, so just let me know. I really hope this is helpful. And also, if anyone is currently studying a degree or has studied a degree, I don't know why I just said that weirdly, in a field that's not specifically career orientated, let me know and we can chat about. Wow, I feel like a career advisor. I'm really not. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm just trying to help. That's all I'm trying to do. So yeah, I'm going to end it here because I'm rambling now. And yeah, I really hope you love graduating as much as I love the platform. And yeah, this is me. And yeah, I hope everything goes well for you, whatever you're up to this week or this month or whatever. So thanks for watching this video and good luck with whatever you're doing.